This episode of the Closeout Bodyboarding Podcast is brought to you by Bodyboarding Victoria and ATTICA Wetsuits. The new ATTICA winter range is now available in your favourite bodyboard and surf hardware stores. To stay warm this winter, check out the new Alpha series featuring liquid seams, gridlock firewall lining and 100% Neospan Simper Stretch for ultimate flex. Or if you're lucky enough to be in a warmer climate, the Omega series has you covered with GPS construction, seamless stomach design and tape criticals. Check out the entire range at ATTICAWetsuits.com.
Welcome back to the Closeout Bodyboarding Podcast, an audio experience where a bunch of good mates sit around and talk about all things bodyboarding. I'm one of your hosts, Benny Oborn. I'm coming in live from Victoria, and joining me up in sunnier parts of the world from the Gold Coast is my good mate Shane Britton. Matthew Lackey back to join us for a second episode. And I tell you what, Shane, we are in absolute media royalty at the moment. Michael Jennings, I mean, geez, mate, what has that guy been up to at the moment? He's been interviewing all kinds of famous people.
Celebrity stars.
Lisa Wilkinson is that, am I hearing this right?
Yeah, it's true. So I've jumped up a couple of notches on the podcast pedestal lately. So if you want to just go to the fridge and get me a drink, Shane, I'm a bit thirsty. So
I thought the guy over there in the suit was going to bring that. Alfred the butler.
So who's Lisa Wilkinson? Is that reporter?
Yes. She's been on every front cover of every paper. Doesn't know who Lisa Wilkinson is.
I've said too much.
I've just realised Watto's not here, Benny.
I know.
I can't, we haven't got audio in our ears. It sounds like he's 10,000 leagues under the sea. So where possibly could he be? In a submarine?
So I wanted to start off with an apology for our good friend Chris Watson. He has resurfaced through Bass Strait. This time he's in Tasmania, but unfortunately they don't have phone reception down there yet. I think they've scheduled that for 2050. So once he gets back to the mainland, absolutely, Watto will be back joining us, hopefully in the studio and not from afar.
I think we should apologise for Watto's sound in the last potty as well, because it wasn't the greatest.
I
but we're lucky.
apologise for nothing.
No, we're lucky we've got MJ here that resurrected that audio for us and made it at least a bit usable. Thanks, MJ.
Yeah.
It's all good, buddy.
So let's get back to, obviously, one of our special guests on the potty today. Obviously, we had a lot of great feedback from the first time he was on the show with us. Matt Lackey, mate, good to have you back. Mate, what's been going on in your part of the world?
First and foremost, thanks for having me back.
Great demand, mate. Great demand.
Yeah. Public demand, backed by public demand. Yeah, no, just not much changes in my world. I just surf D-bar and work, and that's about it. And then try and fit everything else in between. And
well, there's a little bit of news. You were telling us something off air, a little bit of a milestone in your lifeguarding career.
Oh yeah. So I just so I've been lifeguarding for like 14 years as just a casual, and
Just a young bloke,
just chipping away. And I decided, well, I didn't decide, but I was lucky enough to become a permanent lifeguard. So yeah, that's happened in the last 2 weeks, and
awesome, mate. Congratulations.
See you in retirement.
Mate, congratulations.
Yeah, so that'll be me sitting at the beach.
Which tower? Where are we at? Where can we find you?
Well, you'll find me at the moment. I'm pretty much between Currumbin Alley and Rainbow.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
So.
Geez, not a bad office, mate.
Yeah, exactly. You won't get any complaints around here, from me at least.
So for all the fans at home, does that mean you're going to be able to surf more or less?
More. Yeah. Well, you're surfing before work. You're surfing during work. It depends who's asking. But
Shane just had a pen. He was just about to adjust his contract based on that answer.
No, it's
The only way I've been able to see him surf is fainting a heart attack out at D-bar.
Yeah, that's right.
Come rescue me.
You'll have me hanging off you.
Not drowning, waiting.
Mouth to mouth. Tighten up. So that's what I've been up to. Yeah, I guess that's one of that's a pretty exciting thing in my life at the moment, which is great. And then other than that, just surfing as much as I can.
Congratulations, mate. So I guess part of the reason we wanted to have you on today, there's a heap of topics that's going around in bodyboarding at the moment that's really relevant, but I know you've got, a strong opinion on. So it was really good, that you come in and hang out with us again. The first one being, there's a new documentary they're trying to raise funds for at the moment about one of your good mates, Nick Ormerod.
Yep.
And his injury that he had 5 years ago or so now.
Yep.
And sort of how he's come back from the injury and the mental health issues he's dealt with. Do you know much about that project at the moment? And can you tell us a bit more?
Yeah, well, I saw the trailer. So obviously going back, me, Nick, Simon, we grew up together from day dot, pretty much like 10 years old, surfing together at Fingal all the time. And so we're growing up bread and butter. And so for Nick, I saw the documentary, and I think it's pretty cool because it really touches on the mental health side of things, of obviously what he went through after his injury.
Yeah. So to be honest, when I first saw it, I didn't even know he was injured, and I've had working relationships with Alex and Simon over the years, but I wasn't even aware that Nick had been injured. So what sort of happened, there? Yeah.
So I guess it was a stage in Nick's bodyboarding career where he was doing pretty well. He was traveling a lot, filming a lot, and they were down in South Oz and
chasing big waves.
Yeah, chasing heavy slabs, and he did his back there, and it was obviously really bad. But I don't think when he had the first initial X-rays and stuff, I don't think when they first looked at it, they said no, you've it's probably some bruising, this, that, and the other. You'll be right. You'll come good. But he just never did. And then he went back in, demanded more, demanded X-rays, MRI, I'm guessing, all that kind of jazz. And then the doctors just looked at him in shock, and they were like, "We don't know how you're standing here." Apparently his back was his spine was in half. Take what I say with a grain of salt, because I don't know the total ins and outs, but that's basically it. So, mate, that was it. They straightened a wheelchair, the whole 9 yards, and then he was, at least to me, he was pretty quiet about it. Right. I didn't really know too much. I didn't know that he was going through the deep depression side of it. Yeah. I just knew that he fucked his back, and he's just kind of dealing with it, this, that, and the other. And then, it wasn't till about a year or so later, he showed up at my house, and he was hoping to leave his bags at my joint. He's going surfing. And, and we got chatting, and he was telling me about all the metal and all that kind of stuff in his back.
Right.
And I think that's one of the biggest things for him, because he's such an active person. And right at that time in his life, his career was kind of taken off in the direction that he wanted it to, surfing slabs, film and getting recognition. And then that happened. Then bang, he can barely walk. Well, he couldn't walk. He had to, do all that kind of stuff. And obviously it took a massive toll on him. And then, I think, and then, we had a really good chat at my place, and that's when I was like, "Oh fuck!" I didn't even realize that. I kind of felt bad, and to be honest, I kind of feel a little bit bad now because I don't
not keeping in touch.
Yeah, totally. But I know he's on the South Coast. He was building a house down there and all that kind of stuff. And I know that, speaking through Simon, apparently he got a lot of that. Once he got the metal out of his back, he just felt a lot better. Probably mentally too, So he was kind of back on the horse and feeling a lot better. But yeah, I do. I kind of feel a little bit bad, to be honest, that I don't know as much as I probably should. But he's kept it pretty quiet,
Yeah.
But that's why this is really cool to see that he's going to do this, because
it's good to talk about this stuff.
It's good to talk about it, especially someone like Nick. He's such a
such an upbeat guy.
Yeah, and such a he's always doing something. So his passion, he's so passionate. So his bodyboarding is just everything to him. And then for it to all be taken away, where he just can't do anything, and then his mental health comes into it. So I think it's really good. I can't wait to see this thing. Can't wait to see what they're doing with it. It looks like they're just, whoever's doing it, whoever the guys are doing
it's
it.
Brad's editing it.
Brad Schmidt. Yep.
Brad Schmidt.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Do I know him?
Yeah, he's been around the Goldie a fair bit, and he does a lot of sort of snapper stuff. There's one clip in particular that, that barrel of ash at Little Marley, and it's like
The one that just keeps going.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
long.
Yep.
He filmed that one.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, I swear I know that name for some reason.
Nah, he used to be around the traps a lot, like back in the day and stuff. I think he's engaged with Nick because they have a very similar, like, you know, when Nick was like obviously surfing, he's like for that frothy sort of, you know, person. He loves, you know, getting the froth on. But I think in his day-to-day life, he's a very calm and what seems to be like a, you know, he just cruises a lot now as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think they have like a good connection. I think most of the film's already shot.
Yeah.
So,
So they've got it in the can.
yeah,
Right.
so they've already
So the money they're trying to raise is for the back end, the editing.
yeah, so it's basically back end music,
It
basically.
sounds like they actually want to take it big.
Yeah,
So it's not just a little project they want to release.
Yeah, because that's
like-
going to relate to everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. It's mental health.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
and especially these days, mental health is such a big
It's so
thing.
important. Yeah.
Especially like, you know, someone, doing like coming from such a sport level to that. you
Or
know?
someone having the opportunity to talk about their story as well.
Yeah, a lot of people would be able to relate. You
Yeah.
know?
I think it sends across a really, really good message that I think, like you said, is going to relate to a lot of people.
Yeah, that's like probably more relatable to Nick is that Mark Matthews. You know,
Right.
do you see
Yeah.
that? Yeah. He goes around doing public speaking and all that kind of jazz now. That's like his avenue. But he was a big wave surfer, charge it, and then he almost lost his leg or something. No,
Yeah.
he snapped his leg at some heavy wave, and it just changed his life. And then so it's really similar actually, eh? So, and it's just relatable. And now you know he's luckily he can still surf, but not at that level. And yeah, he goes around doing public speaking and all that. So that's probably something Nick will probably. Well, Nick's a
Well,
school
you'd hope
teacher.
so. You'd hope with all the premieres that they do, he can go around and tell his story at the same time.
Yeah.
So if anyone's looking to get behind that project, just jump on to Kickstarter.com, type in Fragor, Fragor. They're looking to raise $25,000. So far, they're at just shy of 6.5. So off to a good start. Get behind it, folks. I think it'll be pretty rewarding for everyone. All right, moving on to another topic where I feel like, Lackey, you're going to have so many kind of little tidbits to add to this. Gambling in bodyboarding. There's been some rumours floating around that this year's Shark Island Challenge could see the return of gambling to bodyboarding events. We're previously able to do it with the IBA. You can currently bet on pretty much every other sport in the world, including the World Surf League. It's actually a pretty big kind of industry. In saying that, you know, it's not an easy thing to do to set up a gambling platform. Not going to lie, I've looked into it. Need a gambling
I
license.
bet you have. I bet you have.
well, there's not much else to do down in Victoria, so you're going to keep your mind busy sometimes.
It's long winters.
Few questions, and most of these are directed at you, Lackey. Stories from that era, mate. You did well out of some bodyboarding betting. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it was like candy from a baby.
Yeah, so back
It was outrageous.
So when the IBA was going back in the day, it was really big. They set up a gambling platform on that, and it was taking off, wasn't it, at the time?
Oh yeah, I couldn't believe it. It
Yeah.
was like at that time, especially Jeff Hubbard. He was the cash cow. He would just be. He would, you know, Ian Rawlins too.
Yep.
There was just these certain guys who you knew. You would look at the heat, and you'd have Timmy O'Toole, you know, and some other bloke, and they're up against Jeff,
Yep.
and they didn't stand a chance. It just wasn't going to happen, and you just loaded on Jeff.
I remember you ringing me a couple of times going, you should see the donkeys Rollins is against, and going, you're not going to believe it, and you won't believe the odds.
But it was their
But
odds.
mate, what?
Their odds
what
were
were the odds?
outrageous.
What were the
I don't know.
odds?
So it was for I could be wrong. It was through this agency called Top Sport, right?
Right.
That's who it was through, and I don't know who was doing the odds, but sometimes you'd have Rawlins against so and so. They were never going to make that heat, and Rawlins was still paying like $1.60, $1.70, and you're just going, you're kidding, aren't you? And then there was 4-man heats, so then Rawlins, so that the odds would be, like $2 something or whatever, and yeah, it was outrageous, yeah. And I know where you're going to go on this, Ben. Which direction he's gonna want to head?
Well, mate, rather than me asking the questions, you can just get straight to the point.
Yeah, so obviously with that, I started looking at things, and I went, well, you would be crazy not to start throwing heats. Like if you were a competitor at the time, I was a competitor,
Yeah.
I would be. Yeah,
With the contracts going around at that time.
Exactly. When you look at what money there was to be made in the sport, even if you win that event and your contracts and all that kind of jazz, you would be crazy not to throw heats. To be totally honest, I don't know if anyone threw heats. I tried to influence people to throw heats. Unfortunately, people they're just too competitive, mate. They just wanted to make the heat. I'm going, fuck the heat. Let's make some cash. You know? You know what I mean? Throw this heat. Don't make that, come unstuck on that ARS. Come unstuck on that fucking roll.
Yeah, so, yeah. It's quite easy to throw a move away. And still look credible, very credible.
Oh, he got that phone ball, he was just in there a little bit too long. Oh, well. Oh, here goes old mate. He's, we didn't see this coming. And then, you know what I mean? And then, to me, it was just like, at the start, I was just betting on it, just going, fuck, how good's this, yada, yada, yada. And then I realised I'm mates with these guys. Yeah. And I got there and I was just going, so I tried my best.
Yeah, and there was guys in these comps with zero contracts. Like, they didn't have contracts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they had, they were surfing for pride, basically.
Yeah.
For their own pride.
Yeah, that's what shocked me. was like, they actually, let's just say if I had been in that situation, I would have been.
So how did you go at that time? Like,
I was, mate.
What was your best win?
Obviously, if anyone was going to set odds,
I'll tell you one.
You would have been in the best position to understand, all those riders, where they're at with their surfing,
I've got one for you.
Okay, hit me.
So yeah, as you were just about to say, being in tune with the riders and all that kind of jazz,
yep.
It really was. When I bet on the man-on-man sort of stuff, anything can happen, so I wouldn't go super hard. But this is one kind of story that I still fucking raise a few questions about this.
About it? Yep.
Yeah. So at the start of the year, they have one of the bets was for the world title. It wasn't just for the contest; it was end of year for the world title. Right.
Yeah. So it wasn't just heat draws or
And Jeff Hubbard at that time was paying. I want to say, maybe like $6 or maybe $10. It was right at the start of the year, and I think I put like $5,000 on it because I'm just Jeff was just in form.
Did you?
Yeah. I think I had $5,000 on it.
Holy crap!
Jeff starts dominating.
Tell you what, mate, if I was a betting agency, that would raise a red flag, especially in bodyboarding.
Yeah, but that's for the world title, so
so it's a long way to go for a world title.
A lot's got to happen.
Yeah.
A lot's got to happen.
You're going to pay off a lot of people for him to win still, though.
Yeah. So this is where it gets interesting, right? So Jeff's dominating, right?
Yeah.
Each year goes to, I can't remember where he was, but he was just dominating. Anyway, comes to this, next minute there's this fucking fairy tale of, oh, Pierre needs to win the fucking world title. Or he needed to get to a certain thing. And I'm thinking there's no chance, right? So then anyway, Jeff gets fucking knocked out early in the rounds. And I'm just going, you
start sweating bullets?
Yeah, I start sweating. I start sweating,
5 Gs, baby, 5 Gs.
Okay, so I start sweating, right? Then I'd love to remember this guy's name. I'll try to, but gets to the point where Pierre gets to this heat, right? And he needs to win the heat. If he wins, I've hedged my bets by now. I'm going fucking, I ain't losing. I'm winning either way here. So I've had to hedge my bets, right? So basically, it was a win-win for me at that stage because I put money on Pierre now. Right? Because I'm like, so I put money on Pierre.
How deep are you in at that point?
No, well, he would have had to put enough money in so then he wins back his initial
5K.
Exactly, which is $5,000.
Yeah, so I wasn't going to lose,
right?
And
yeah.
I had a couple of mates I towed into this, so there was a lot more than $5,000 on the line by then.
Wow.
Anyway, so it was a win-win. And anyway, no word of a lie, comes down to it, and fucking Pierre's winning the heat. And I'm just going, you're kidding me. I didn't mind too much because I'd hedged my bet. But then this guy, Canary Islands guy, 10 seconds to go, comes flying out and does this air forward, big air forward out of the bowl. I'm like, he's fucking got it. He's fucking got it. 100% he's got it. Doesn't get the score. It was the biggest rort. I'd love to know the guy's name. You'll be able to find footage of this.
Yeah, right. What comp was it?
It was Fronton. It was at Fronton.
Right.
Yeah. What's his name? I even know the colour of his board and that. He had like the old Stuart colours, blue.
Because he's printed out on Lackey's dartboard.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, the judges were more so because... And then anyway, this is where it gets a bit interesting, right? So then that next year I get to Hawaii and I see Jeff and I'm like, I go, Jeff, what the fuck? I go, is it just me or did that seem odd? And even he said, he goes, mate, they already, which I could kind of understand, but he goes, they already had fucking Pierre t-shirts printed out for the world title and shit. But that was probably from his board sponsor just in case,
right?
You know, but I'll go on record saying Pierre's such a good dude. I'm not having to go at him. He's a really good guy. But yeah, so if you can, bring that heat up and have a look at that.
Wow.
We'll find it. We'll find it.
If they were going to do, like, for the Shark Island contest, there is such a diversity in which way you could bet. Like, obviously, you see in NRL, you've got the unders and overs. Like, you know, could you bet that someone's going to do an ARS? Could you bet that someone's going to do an invert? Could you bet that their score is going to be between a 5 and a 7? Like, there is so many different variables, or, you know, the way that you bet that the combined score is going to be over, 16 or something like that. Like, you could actually, there could be a lot to bet on rather than just say, all right, Rawlins is going to win, or vice versa.
Well, this is news to me. So they're thinking about, I need to make some phone calls. No, so you're telling me that they're thinking about putting betting on the...
Yeah, there's been talk that they're seriously looking at it.
Like, being 100% legit, I think it's fucking great.
Yeah.
It's great. Every sport has it, you know?
Yeah, like a betting company could legitimately be a sponsor of the event. Like, no different to NRL, AFL.
Yeah.
There's sponsors.
But then that's where they just get, like, all right, say, for instance, and this is purely hypothetical, Sportsbet comes online or on board for it. They could then employ, 5 hardcore bodyboarders and say, you are determining the odds.
Yeah.
So based on your knowledge of, the wave, the conditions, the riders, what they do, then they'll say, all right, this guy is favourite to win that heat or whatever. So there's no way, because they don't have any experience in the sport, they're going to have to basically call on people to do that role. So if you're not betting, you could either get a job.
Yeah, well, who used to, it's coming back to me a little bit, who used to do it was Alex Leon. Used to do the odds for Top Sport.
Oh, he used to set the odds.
He used to set the odds, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
So Top Sport are an Australian online betting company. They're not an international company.
No, they're Australian.
He was working for the IABA at the time.
Don't know. I think so.
Yeah,
he would have been.
He must have been.
Yeah. So I just I just know that I went through Top Sport. Whether you could bet through others, but Top Sport was one that I
Right now, folks, next race in Japan, Laval paying $26 for the win.
How's the Dapto Dogs going? That was my wife.
Yeah. Go to Dapto. We've got Lackey's Pride.
Yeah.
We'd be on it right now.
No, but I actually don't gamble at all. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You get your stopped.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I only did it because I saw an opportunity. No. But yeah.
Because you were betting on WSL and everything.
Yeah, so I was betting on the surfing and bodyboarding. The surfing was pretty similar when it was at J-Bay and that kind of stuff. It was fucking easy money a lot of the time. No, nothing's ever easy money, but it was, yeah. But I don't like to lose money, so that's why I don't bet.
That's my thing. I'd never gamble because I don't like losing. And just remember, people, you're about to lose.
Yeah, as
the ad say, you're about to lose. Yeah. Oh, wow.
So I'm going to, I guess the final question regarding this topic is, can it open up issues? And do you think that if betting comes online for the Shark Island Challenge, do you think there could be some dodginess?
I don't think there could be, because the way that Shark Island has come back, the prestige of that event, I think people that are in it, there's a certain authenticity to them that I don't think they'd ever want to throw something like.
Yeah, they're crazy not to though.
It is a massive buy-in for each rider for that event as well. Like it's $1,500 a rider.
Well, see, that's the thing. What I found was these guys.
So you're saying hedge their bet and they'll get their $1,500 back.
Well, it's the sponsors that are probably going hard for them anyway.
But it's like what you said. It's like they're not their ego, but their their drive. They like what Jennings just said. You know, they're going into the Shark Island event. They want to do well.
Yeah. The people that have been chosen perform in big wave surf, so they want to do that in front of the bodyboarding world because they don't get many opportunities to do it. So,
but even with like the contest scene at the moment, they don't even know when. Like, if it does run and it does go well, it's not a certainty that it's going to be back next year either. So, you know, if it doesn't ever come back, you could be the last person that wins the Shark Island event. So it's like, I just think there's too much risk in basically, or there's too much pride in the individuals of the people that are going in it.
Yeah. Yeah, but you would have to look at it. You would seriously have to. I'm just being a realist. You would have to look at it. Like, even if, let's say you get to a man-on-man stage and I'm against someone and then I look at the odds and someone gives me a tap on the shoulder and says, hey, mate, you realise if you let old mate go through, you know, you could make some cash here. And I'm not saying, I'm like saying like you, I don't think.
You're just pointing out what could happen.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, definitely.
Because we haven't got a governed sport like, like other sports.
Yeah, that's right. And it's so easy to do. But I don't know of anyone that's done it or anything like that. But
I guess no one else has a bloody healthy contract like you to throw around money either. So.
No, well, that's even more incentive for them to do it. Hey, if you're not making money, I know how.
The comp, all the best, and we, think they're going to be. It's got all the credibility in the world, that event. So,
it'll be amazing. Yeah.
One last question, boys. Who's going to win it? If all the elements line up for Shark
I was a
Island,
betting man.
If I was a betting man, folks, head on to top online sports betting companies Australia.
Here's a hot topic. Is Kingy going in it? I've seen a little bit of feather ruffling there where Kingy didn't get a
he could have put a wild card entry in through Riptide, but I haven't seen that come through in the last couple of days. I think they closed off last Friday.
Yeah,
entries.
Yeah, I think he should get the red carpet rolled out amongst other winners of that event.
I think there's a lot of names that are missing that should be in it.
Yeah, I think there's. I'm not going to say who or anything, but there's rumours out there that there's some international riders that are only here for a short window. From the start. So
if it runs outside of that, someone else will fill the spot. Maybe.
There is spots. There could be spots there. It just depends on how quickly they can run the event.
Yeah,
and whether those riders would jump on a plane and come back because they've already got their trips booked. So then depending on when they run, there may be spots that open up.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's stuff behind the scenes that I don't know, but I just think that guys like previous winners like Kingy. And I'm guessing other guys. I just thought they would have had the,
Well, I think that's the beauty of the event, though, because there's no reason, this year they've come up with a concept and it's been great, and they're getting some new guys and some old guys and all that stuff. But there's no reason why next year they said we're only having the past winners, or the past top two to fill out the field, or they could go in a completely different direction and say we're only going to run a comp under 30s.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of the comp. It's an invite, and they can change how they want to run it at any time. So, I mean, you can do plenty of formats in that.
Yeah.
So, it'd be kind of interesting as well.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it all.
Imagine all the old blokes back.
Well, so when is it? Is it?
It starts May 23rd.
Oh, right.
The window.
The window, yeah.
It's
perfect
like a 5-6
time for
week
it.
window, yeah. So,
that's only in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting exciting.
All right, folks. Moving on to the next topic. DKS versus Bodyboarding Vic pool party down here at Urban Surf in August. Obviously, Lackey, you're going to be the show pony poster boy for this one, I think. mate, you excited to come down here in the middle of winter?
Yeah, that's my only. That's the only odd thing. It'd be nice through summer, but beggars can't be choosers. Mate, that wave pool, my last experience with bodyboarding Victoria, that was amazing. So I can't wait to get back in there. Hopefully, I would actually like to get a little bit of practice in there because
Come down, mate, anytime.
Yeah. As fun as it is, there is a bit of a trick to it. You know?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How did you well, I was behind the lens for your first session in the pool.
Well, you tell me. What went wrong?
Yeah, well, that there pretty much, mate. What went wrong? Like it again, like you said, there's a knack. It's not natural. You've kind of got to understand how the section and the wave works. Like, did you find it frustrating, or what was your kind of biggest challenge to kind of get a good manhandle on it?
No, I absolutely loved it. Anyone that asks me, I'm just like, mate, it's like a childhood dream come true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just straight from waiting for the wave to how it draws back, and then I was actually pretty impressed how it actually wraps at you. Like it's it's like a thick rip bowl kind of thing. I loved it. I did find on the knee it was just something that I had to get used to a little bit. Coming off the bottom, when I first saw it, I was like, oh yeah, I could come off the bottom, do a turn there. But yeah, I just had to probably spend a bit more time on it and adjust a little bit. The left for backside, I was getting flogged. I was like, is it heavier the left than the right? It is, eh?
It is.
It's a bit. Is it a bit longer and thicker?
It's just heavier.
It is, yeah. Because I was getting flogged. I went, oh fuck, I'm going. Because I thought,
I think it wraps. I think it wraps harder on the left than the right.
Yeah, there's definitely something about it because I was
intricacies.
Yeah, I was going backside, and I thought I'd do really well backside on it, and I was coming unstuck a bit. I remember hitting the bottom pretty hard. And oh fuck, I'm going back to the right.
What do you think of the format where you're going to get the opportunity to surf an hour on the left and then an hour on the right?
Oh, it's amazing.
Yep.
Weeds everything out.
Yeah, it gives everyone the opportunity they're going to have to show both sides of their surfing.
Yeah, and it will. I definitely think people who have done a bit of time in the pool will probably excel.
Yep.
Because it's not straightforward.
Yeah, there's quite a few Vico guys that spend a lot. Dane Pope.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Popey and
Welshie.
Yep.
Doc.
Yep.
Those three guys in particular.
They would have it so fine-tuned. They would know where to turn, how high to turn, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting.
Again, those guys have had experience at Urban Surf, mate. You've had experience at pretty much almost every wave pool across the world. Dubai, San Diego, Mexico. Have you done the Mexico one as well, I think?
Yep. So Mexico, a lot...
different setups, of course.
Yeah, they're flow riders, but they were, Dubai, that was amazing. That was actually, Dubai was before, a lot of those ones were before, I think there was like a Japanese one in Japan, the actual wave pool, but before that it was just flow riders. So the flow riders, they were amazing. Like you said, the one in Dubai.
So the Dubai one, that was on the experiment?
No, that was a movement trip.
It was a movement trip, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yep. So that was a movement trip. We went to Dubai, we went to Canary Islands, and we went to some other places there.
What was it like going to Dubai? Did that feature on one of the tensions as well?
Yep, it was on tension. Yeah, so it's funny because when that trip came about, Dubai wasn't really too well known, or at least to me.
Yep.
And they were like, "Oh, we're going to do this trip. We're going to Dubai. We're going to this." And I'm thinking, why are we going to Dubai? What a fucking waste!
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? I just want to surf. But mate, to this day, it is one of the best experiences I've had when I look back at it all. Emirates flew us over there.
Wow.
Yeah. So landed. There's a bit of a story to this. I'll get through it. So Dubai flew us over there. Landed. Straight through the airport, didn't have to sit through the lines, anything like that. There's just this guy comes up. Oh, are you Matt? He had this sign, Matt, and next minute I go out. I'm in a
So you
Mercedes.
didn't travel with the group? You landed by yourself?
Yeah, I landed by myself, and I was to meet them. Right? They had got there like a couple of hours earlier.
Who was there with you?
It was me. Whitey was doing the filming.
Hardy.
Yep, Hardy, Mitch.
BP?
I don't know if Ben was there.
Wasn't it Mitch?
Jeff.
Mitch Hall, maybe?
Yeah, didn't Jeff hurt himself at the?
Yeah. Oh man, I got a story about that. So yeah, it was me, Mitch, Hardy, Jeff, and it'll come back to me. Might have been just us, but it was a movement trip, and Murray Bell and the guys from Movement, they came over.
Yep.
And so it was a really good trip. Anyway, the crazy part about was Emirates flew us over. I landed. He walks me out into this Mercedes.
Wow.
Sits in the car. He's asking me if the temperatures were right in the car, and I'm just going fucking. Anyway, I get to this palace, and it turns out to be, that big building with the tennis court on the top, the big famous one.
Yep.
So we were staying in these to get to my room. They put me in this fucking gondola, and I'm going through all these mazes, and then I get to my own. I was actually sharing the room with Jeff, and we get there, and it's just like everything that you see that's gold is gold. They took us to the presidential suite in that building. That was nuts. Anyway, Jeff. So, unbeknownst to me, flow riders, mate, they break bones.
Yes.
Whitey busted his ankle. I seen Rawlins drowning and squealing like a girl. He got caught under where the lip is. Where the lip lands, it makes like this flat spot, this weird dry spot. And Mitch got flogged, and where I'm standing waiting for him to fall to go, I can see everything, right? And I see he's pinned. So his legs are on the dry spot, but the rest is getting lipped, so he's drowning. And he's just, and he's just pinned there.
I shouldn't be laughing, I'm sorry.
No, the best was Jeff. So then Mitch finally gets spat out, and I'm like, yeah, about time. He's gasping for air, and I'm jumped on having a ball. And then, anyway, I'll never forget it. So, and this kind of stuff interests me, right? Because I imagine how shit works, right? So you got the flow rider, and you think, where does the excess water go, right? So it gets pushed over the back, and it just goes like this fucking rapid. Right down, it's the biggest hazard, right? But anyway, I'm sitting there.
Oh, so it doesn't go like it's a little gondola thing where it flows around.
Well, it eventually does.
Right.
But, and they would have fixed this by now. The wall, there was a wall there, and it had this imagine like a V cutout in the bottom, right? Jeff got flogged, got spat over the back, got spat under into this V, and was stuck there because of the force of the water, and he was drowning.
You're joking.
And he was screaming like a fucking. I'll never forget it. It was like a little girl, like screaming in fear. And it was Jeff. He was drowning.
Wow.
And then we had to run in and get him out. And it was
just pinned.
He was just pinned by the water.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. That was definitely a
safety
design
hazard.
for a safety hazard.
Yeah. Well.
So that was Dubai, and then
Similar flow rider is San Diego.
Yeah. I went with the Nomad team there.
Yep.
The
that was the
Thursdays.
40 days around the world.
Around the world trip.
Yeah, yep.
We went there. That was amazing. And then there's a real knack to riding those things too. So
how's that experience like? How do those two compare against each other, Dubai and
well,
San Diego?
for me personally, I way preferred the San Diego because I was backside. So backside on those things, backside drop knee is way better because you're leaning on your inside rail, not your outside. So on your outside rail, as in Dubai, for me, I was just coming unstuck all the time. It wasn't easy to ride at all, but San Diego one was. And then unbeknownst to me, I was in Mexico, and I went and checked out Mexico City, and I found out there was a flow rider there. And we get there, and there's this pumping flow rider in this water park there. It'd still be there today, and I had the experience on that. I ended up getting kicked off that. It was so it was these two young girls hogging it, right? And they'd kind of jump on it, and then and there's this big line behind me, and I'm going, oh well, I know how to get them off. So I'd jump on and just start doing these double-handed cutties into them, like not into them, but into their face. I got a funny photo you can post. I love it. And so I'm taking them out. They're getting flogged, and then because they were just hogging it, and then It was a crowd pleaser. Everyone was stoked. And then next minute, this guy comes along and ushers me away. And turns out that it was the owner's daughters.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I got escorted off that real quick. Yeah.
Where's that in Mexico?
It's in Mexico City.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but I didn't really tell a story that good, but the photos are classic.
Yeah, right.
Again, obviously the induction and progression of wave park development just continues. I mean, Perth Surf Park building is being held up for the what is it? Something they've found some animals they don't want to harm. So that's a bit of a bugger. That's down in what's the suburb down? It's pronounced Coburn, but I think it's spelt Cockburn.
That is correct.
Yep, that's right.
Relatable.
Yeah.
What's the animal? What's the animal?
Oh, I think it's a rare black cock, a 2.
This is a cock or 2.
Yeah.
So that's all been held up, Benny?
Yeah, yep. So
Is that the one in South Oz?
No, this is the one in this is the one in Coburg.
It's a shame Watto's not here because he's kind of the expert on all these things, and he's seen a black cock or 2.
He knows his way around.
And I think some of the guys that were on the original kind of development team for Urban Surf are part of this development over in Perth, which is pretty great, which means, they've learnt a lot. So hopefully they can implement something pretty amazing over there. On top of that, some big news coming out of Adelaide this week. They've just announced, what is it, $100 million development for their first ever wave park.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's going to be down towards Port Noarlunga way.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah,
so
down south.
Can you... Yeah, how far south of the city is that, MJ?
It's about 35 minutes. So just up the road is a beach that you'd probably be familiar with. It's called Maslands. It's the one and only nude beach in Adelaide. So
Yep.
So where are they doing that? Because obviously Port Noarlunga, they've got that big bridge built there now. There's all that flat ground.
I think it's just where there's enough land.
It's like swamp land in there, though, from memory.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be hard to pump it out. Like, they probably can't build there, or they can't go residential, so they're going to use it for
something like that, yeah.
Right.
Something bigger.
Yeah.
So
what a great place, though, to have it.
Yeah.
Because, it's not always great surf on that section of the coast, but it's still sort of that halfway between Adelaide and Victor, so you get all those Victor guys over as well.
Well, it'll be around the mid-coast, and the mid-coast is obviously renowned from blocking swell because of Kangaroo Island. So, they probably actually would have half-decent waves if Kangaroo Island wasn't there. But, yeah, there's a couple of national parks down south, halfway in between Victor and Adelaide, which is kind of like your last point of waves, and then after that it's just flat.
Yeah.
So they're proposing that this, again, it's different technology to Wave Garden. So their development is set to include an electric mix of accommodation and an artificial 2-meter wave, along with skate parks, outdoor bars, and wellness studios. So, I mean, that's a big call, like a 2-meter artificial wave.
Well, they're going for more the Waco style sort of thing. So the big long wall, and then it basically breaks along down it.
Which is fine, but again, if they're essentially proposing it's going to be a 6-foot artificial wave. Like if that comes to fruition, then that's pushing the boundaries again.
You'd have to think that it's going to go that way at some stage.
It has to.
I'm guessing they just got to upscale whatever they're doing.
Well, it's just maths and engineering and find it. Well, I think the biggest risk with like you said, upscaling any of these artificial waves is trying to make sure that you balance the safety aspect. Because at the end of the day, all of these pools are breaking in concrete, right? Like imagine a 6-foot, 6-footer, and you get flogged on a 6-footer hitting the concrete.
Is Waco concrete? I didn't think it was.
Not sure.
Don't know.
I thought it was part of a lake.
You would have noticed in basically all the latest stuff coming out of Sydney, everyone from Owen Wright, from even Benny P, like a lot of the guys
helmets.
they've been wearing helmets. So I don't know if that's the logistics things from Sydney because it is such early days. Obviously, Tullamarine had a pretty bad rap sheet for ambulances in its first 2 weeks, but yeah, I don't know if it's a requirement of Sydney, but everyone's been wearing helmets.
My understanding from speaking to people during the week is it's a requirement for what's the best setting?
Beast mode.
Beast mode, yeah. For beast mode.
Really?
Yeah. Or for
Oh,
expert.
there you go.
For expert.
Well, that obviously I assume maybe their expert mode's a bit bigger and better than what we've got at Melbourne. You'd assume so. It's their second park. Hopefully they've, upped the ante a little bit.
Well, hopefully we get to see something come out of it. Obviously, the NMD team were there earlier this week, so hopefully there should be some bodyboarding content come out.
All right. Well, looking forward to that. We're going to go down a few notches on the scale here with some less exciting news. Of recent, there's been some pretty tragic news coming out of Mexico. Also, some tragic news coming out of east coast of Australian Coffs Harbour with 22-year-old Kyle Schaefer being stabbed in the car park and unfortunately passed away due to internal injuries. Still on the lookout for the culprits there. But
really, they haven't found who.
No, they don't know who it is yet.
No way.
No.
There's no cameras around the surf club there.
So he's just come out. I don't really know the story too well. He's just come out after a surf and someone
He
stabbed
surfed
him.
really early in the morning. He was out of the water at 6:45.
quarter to 7. Yep.
Yep. And I've just been in Coffs the last couple of days actually, and spoke to a few people that knew him. And got out of the water, and he parked at a car park at the surf club, which no one really parks at.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's not as easy an access to where he was surfing.
Yeah.
But but there's some undesirable people hanging around.
Wow.
They think that he caught them breaking into his car and
shit.
And things like that.
So I think that's their best kind of guess at this stage. That it was a random and unprovoked event. Based around a robbery gone wrong. I know they've got from some CCTV footage around that timeline. There was a guy that was on his morning bike ride. They're kind of trying to get in contact with him in case maybe he had heard or seen something. But yeah, pretty sad nonetheless. And then, obviously equally as bad story. A couple of guys from Perth in Jake, brothers, Jake and Callum Robinson, and a good friend of theirs, Jack Carter. Murdered near Punta? San Jose, near Ensenada in Baja, Mexico. I'm sure everyone's seen this on the news, but 3 people have been arrested. But sounds like it was a pretty terrible event. I think the latest police report with the questioning with those guys arrested said that they were just trying to steal the tires from their car, which
really?
Yeah, how bizarre.
Yeah.
Mexico and, a lot of these places, their reality is totally different than ours. I was speaking to my missus about this. She's from Brazil.
Yep.
And I got a mate who's just about to drive from California. He's never been to Mexico, but he's going to buy a car in Mexico, in US, and drive all the way down to Porto and all that. And I was saying to him, mate, just go for gold, enjoy, use common sense. And I still believe that. But one thing she said was, and these guys probably did it, I'm not too sure, but she said in Brazil, if you're getting robbed, let them take it.
Yep.
It ain't worth it.
Absolutely.
Because you have this thing like you have this bit of an ego where you go, you might try and fight back or fuck off or whatever.
Then you're not thinking.
Their reality is different.
Yeah.
And coming from Australia, well, there's scumbags here. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. But their reality is a lot different. We're not used to that, so they'll just fucking shoot you or stab you or whatever, and it's,
Yeah. We've all sort of travelled pretty extensively, Matt, you probably more than all of us, but has anyone sort of ever experienced something where they've had those sort of heavy situations?
I've got one. Basically, it was the first time I'd ever been overseas. It was obviously with Joe, Lee Bendel, and Ben Lee, and then Joe's partner at the time, and we're in Samoa. So we'd gone over to the other island because we wanted to go to Aganoa. Got there, basically, that was our first overseas trip. We'd been surfing Rocksuck and a few of the other waves. And we'd gone over there to basically surf, had organised it, booked in. So we were basically on the booking. And then in between the day that we left and went on the ferry and then the day getting there, something had happened. We can't remember whether it was something had happened with either one of the owners or something of the surf camp and the locals. So basically, I think it was a relationship-wise, and basically the locals had just taken over the surf camp. So we rocked up there. You go through there and there's this nice archway that you drive through, and that's like your welcome to the place. And then they'd built this big giant pile of rocks that was blocking the road. And then as we basically approached there, we stopped the car, and I think there was like 4 guys that walked out with obviously big machetes, guns, and basically in a polite way said, fuck off, don't come here.
Yeah,
and
you don't want to be part of this
us being
situation.
like naive, basically stupid Aussies, we're just like, oh, no, it's okay, we're booked here. Like, we didn't think anything of it. And the guy was just like, look, I don't want to have to say it again, but fuck off. We didn't know what was happening. So we jumped back in the car, turned around as quick as we could. We drove to the exact opposite part of the island, even though there was no accommodation there, because we were just so rattled and like freaked out, and then booked our ferry and then stayed there the night at this place that didn't even have surf or waves. Went straight back across the other side the island and went back in the ferry. And that was like, yeah, that was our first, I think that was Joe's first overseas trip, and, you know, a lot of us as well. So it was just like, that was our, you know, introduction to like surfing overseas, and we're like, holy shit, like that was bad. But then on the other hand, like Samoa is such a beautiful place. Like I think it was days later, we were on the side of the road, got bogged because we tried to do a U-turn, and then within, you know, 10 minutes there was like 5 massive Samoans that had sort of pulled over, and they ended up lifting the car out of the mud and put it back on the road, and then, you know, chirped off. So like, I think it was just such a isolated incident, but it was just, yeah, something was going on in the back end, and we just got the brunt of it.
The highs and the lows of surf travel.
Yeah.
How about you, Lack? Have you?
I had in Brazil. I had been to Brazil a lot and absolutely loved the joint, and always heard, you know, be careful. But I had never experienced really anything. And then one night it was back in the MSN days, and I had just my laptop in this internet cafe, and I was looking outside, and it was starting to get dark. And I thought, I better go home. I wanted to get a feed, so I was like, I'll just, you know, walk my bag back to the hotel, drop it off, go get a feed. Anyway, stuffing around, and by the time I looked, it was dark, and so I thought, I just thought to myself, what's the worst that could happen, right? You know? So anyway, off I go, and I go down this, I won't say it's an alleyway, but it's a darker style street, and there's a couple walking in front of me, and I've got my backpack, laptop, whole 9 yards in my bag, and I'm just walking down the street, and then I see these two young kids, they're probably like 12, 13, just run up to this couple, and he was a big dude, and I kind of stood back thinking, what the fuck's going on here? And then I could see they were being robbed, right? And then instantly I just thought, you little fucks. And so then they start running, so they've robbed these two, and then start running up the street towards me, and I'm thinking, I'm going to fucking grab you. You know, you're coming right to me. But then I instantly thought, I got my laptop, don't get involved. And then they just ran straight past me, they were gone, right? And then as I've continued down the street, I come around the corner, and here's the dude and his missus. She's in tears. He could kind of speak a bit of English, and I said, mate, what happened? I'm looking at this guy. He's huge. And they had guns on him. Bang, straight into the missus' gut and everything. And then I think to myself, lucky I didn't grab him.
Yeah.
Because, you know, back in Australia, they're just little shits. You just grab them. But over there, they're not going to fuck around, you know? So
there was another experience that we shared with a colourful gentleman in a car park down in South Australia once upon a time as well.
So that I was actually going to say that one too, because that just shows that there's just nutcases everywhere.
Well, Nick was with us then.
Yeah. That was a funny one, eh?
Yeah.
Because
So what happened there?
Well, there was a guy. I think he was passing through at the time, or he wasn't a local. And funnily enough, he'd come from Iluka. So I remember he'd spent some time in Iluka, and then he was back down there, or vice versa. He's originally from South Australia, and then had spent some time in Iluka and was back.
Yeah, so you know who the guy is, right? You can do some tracing back here. There's a riptide from years ago, right? And Moffat, Kingy, and someone else, and Jonesy was shooting the trip. This is back in the early days of South Oz. They go and shoot that Ethel's Ledge, right? And he was a local bodyboarder there who was showing them around. Anyway, few years, probably listened. A few years later, he started getting on the bongs, fucking this, that, and the other. Anyway, obviously, he's pretty protective of his fucking his waves there, right? Which happens in South Australia, and we fucking get it, right? And my way of thinking is like this, right? So we rock up, there's fucking no one there, right? There is no one. Anyway, he rocks up, and he starts going off, right? And in my head, I'm just like, oh, I said, mate, I was saying to him, okay, mate, there's no one out there. Okay, let's go. If anyone hassles you, then fucking fair enough. But no one's going to hassle you. You take whatever you want. Let's just go surf. Because if we don't go surf, no one's going to be surfing this. Let's just go. And I was kind of brushing him off as in, what's he going to do? I was there. It was me. Grizz was there.
Yeah.
Nick Ormerod. Big dudes, right? And I'm thinking, what's he going to do? Anyway, he goes back to his car. He comes back. He's got this fucking axe handle and he's just tapping it and he's fucking dead serious. Anyway, still at this stage, I thought, what's he going to do, right? And then he takes his sunnies off and I just look and he's got these fucking crazy eyes. And that was the moment I go, all right, boys.
Time to go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go elsewhere. And we actually went elsewhere and scored.
Yeah, so it was pumping somewhere else, so it was kind of a bit of a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. Like I understand where those guys are coming from. Yeah. I totally do. I really do. And with the local spots, and they don't want it to be crowded and all that kind of stuff. But in that situation, there was no one out. It was just him and us. Let's go have a hell time.
Yeah.
No one's going to hassle you. But yeah, not to be.
But that's the worst thing is though, because they're car park warriors. Like, you're saying, like, let's go surf, like, and he'll get whatever wave. Like, there is that respect, and you guys are willing to give him that respect. But yeah, it's fucking been a dick.
But you don't know the experiences he's had with other people previously, and
there's a lot. There's a lot that
you
goes
just never
into
know what's
it.
going on with people.
Well, I'm pretty sure there was a local business, basically, person that was down there, and I think afterwards, because then a couple of weeks later, someone's camera got smashed at one of the waves down there a little bit further around the corner. And then, one of the business owners down there I think he had to actually step in and say, hey, mate, like, I rely on these people coming down here and surfing and whatever like that. So if you kindly wouldn't ruin my business.
Yeah,
but,
he was a heavy hitter, that dude.
Yeah. So I think he had a few stern words, and after that it was a little bit more mellow.
But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. Is that the bloke that runs a little roadhouse of some sort? Is that who you're talking about?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Possibly.
Allegedly.
But it'd be interesting to go and rally up that early riptide of that trip, and you'll find the dude. So for the viewers out there, do a bit of homework.
For the collectors of riptide out there.
Yeah. Little treasure hunt.
It's a little your own Where's Wally.
Yeah, he's probably a good dude, but he just was pissed off.
Had a bad week.
He just had a gutful.
Speaking of car park warriors, Shano, on a trip that we did together, probably the only international surf trip you've done, didn't you have a bit of a run-in with a big Polynesian bloke in a car park? Guy by the name of Dwayne. Guy by the name of Dwayne.
Large New Zealander.
Drove a 2005 black Hilux with a 3-inch lift kit. Not that I remembered.
That he followed us around the island, around the Cooks, over and over and over again. He hunted us on a daily basis.
Oh, really?
To make sure that we weren't surfing. Yeah, it was crazy.
Every car park we pulled up to in Raro, he parked behind us and blocked us in. Yeah. And, mate, we pretty much said, you set foot in the water, everything that's in the car is not going to be here when you get back. Like, it's just like
that happened to Alex Ormerod in the Cooks. He was we were in the Cooks and we were shooting. He was up a tree and he had his camera gear, like 600mm lens, a whole 9 yards in this camera bag.
Yeah.
Local bloke. I don't know if it was a local bloke, so I don't want to fucking blame. But
this guy I'm talking about wasn't even a local. He was a Kiwi.
Yeah, he was
Well, this might have been the same sort of situation. Yeah. They took his bag. Alex had to go buy it all back. Yeah. Had to give him cash to get it back.
Jesus.
Yeah. It's funny because that
I remember that trip you and Simon did to Brazil.
Yep.
And, you got that massive wedge and that you're surfing out over there. But I remember Simon telling me, I think you flew out first or went off somewhere else. Is that when Gabby maybe did something else? And he was there by himself at the end of the trip.
Yep.
And he got roofied.
I don't know about that.
Did you know that story?
Oh, vaguely. It would sound like something that would happen to him.
Yeah. Be careful what you get off strange women in foreign countries, guys.
Yeah. Well, that's
The old drink up and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we were in Bender Camp. He was a
Bender Camp.
Yeah, he was
the photographer.
He was a
Jesus.
different kettle of fish, old Bender Camp.
Didn't quite do what the job he was paid for.
Yeah, well, he was like, we're in Brazil, right? And
for anyone that's not sure, you'll see, and it's on the internet everywhere, that famous wedge shot.
Yeah.
And it's either you or
unbelievable.
Simon Padlin.
Yeah, it's me and Simon paddling out. Yeah, shitting ourselves.
Oh, and aren't you claiming in front of one of the shots as well?
Got the hand in the air.
Yeah, it's massive wedge.
Yep. And so that was Bender Camp, and that was a trip for movement. And we didn't know Ben, and he flew down from the US to meet us, and really nice guy. But yeah, just it's just funny, just certain things. Like you're in Brazil, right? So you get home from your surf, you're like, right, let's go out, and Brazil's full of amazing food, right? You go to the corner store, açaí, you get all this stuff. He would he wouldn't leave the apartment. I don't know why, but he just wouldn't leave, and he'd make these sandwiches at home. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Let's go, you know?
Just felt safe there.
Yeah, and then I don't know, it was just different kettle of fish. Yeah, love it. That's what makes the world go around, different characters.
Absolutely.
All right, moving forward, another topic that probably is relevant to all of us: jet skis. Everyone loves to talk about jet skis. Our good friend Watto, who's not here, he's just bought himself a new jet ski. I mean, are they coming back? Are we going to see a bit of a resurgence of jet skis with bodyboarding, with tow outs? Like they were at the top of the the order for bodyboarding for a while. What happened? Why did it stop? Did too many people get hurt? Fill me in, boys.
There was a lot of jet ski owners on this potty tonight. Or that used to be.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, for me, skis, they definitely serve their purpose, especially depending where you live. If you're in West Oz and that kind of stuff, a jet ski would be a luxury, Yep. I think the whole tow out thing, there's only so much you can do there.
You don't have one anymore, do you?
No. So I had one for years, and I loved it.
What do you think about that now that you look back and you sold it? And
there's definitely moments where I wish I had it.
Yep.
But oddly enough, and people don't think about this, is the hardest thing when you own a ski is to find someone to go with.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And a lot of the time, you might find someone,
but not skilled.
But they can't drive.
Yeah.
So guess what? You're driving.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff. Or if they can drive, they're fucking average at best. Prime example, Tyson Ryan, right? So straight.
Jeez, Tyson just had the bus roll over.
Oh yeah, no, he'll like this story.
Mate, he's in Fiji. He's not here to defend himself.
Oh yeah, and he's been called a lot worse, I'm sure. But Stratty's pumping, right? And me and him, I got the ski. We go over. We go down the beach. There's no one around, and I'm like, all right, I'll step you off into a couple of ties. And he's just getting spat out of these things, and I'm just going. I'm in the situation I always find myself in. No one can drive, so fucking what do I do? Anyway, Tyson's like, oh, I'll drive, and I go, yeah. Well, thinking to myself, how hard can it be? And I said, look, just do what I do. Come in like this. Straighten out, and then take your time when you're coming back out. You don't need to be in a rush. Just pick your gaps, and you'll be fine, mate. I'll never forget it. I remember coming out of this one, and then I look down the beach, and I see a 4 foot slab at Stratty, and Tyson just drive through it. Straight. I swear the lip landed on the front of the ski, and I thought he was gone for all money, and he pops out the other side. I don't know how he did it, but
on your ski,
on my ski. Yeah. And Hashi almost rolled my ski at Stratty.
Hashi he was a pretty good driver though. I think he just had too much confidence probably.
Yeah, and he wanted to, yeah. I remember that day I said, Hashi, don't be a fucking hero. You're going to roll my ski. And then next minute he gets fucking...
Well, I rolled his. So
oh, yeah?
I remember you rolled one over there as well at Stratty.
I had a pretty bad accident.
You killed his ski, didn't you? You killed it.
No. So basically so I was in the whitewater. It was probably like, I don't know, 8 foot. And it was only me, Joe, and Charlie J over there. And then I was the boys wanted to jump on the back, and I was like, nah, you guys just jump in the river, and I'll meet you around the corner, because it was massive. Like, there was no way you were getting out. And then I was doing figure eights, and then Hashi had I think it was a 2018, 2008, which were known for cavitating. They were dog shit. So I've seen my gap, I've pinned it, and then basically I went over the back of a 8-footer, and the ski landed on me, and then I woke up in the water, and then basically both the seats got blasted off, and then ripped the front open. Like, the ski was full of water. Yeah. And then it took all three of us to hold the ski in the water without it getting sucked out. And then, it was just, it was a nightmare. But the ski still lived. We took it to Yamaha. So they did 3 oil changes, and then, saved the ski. And then he got all the plastics and stuff replaced on insurance. And then, after that, I think he sold it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
How's that ski footage from ours from last year?
Oh, yeah, the ski getting washed up.
Washed up on the rocks.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
Yeah, but I think that skis definitely have their place. I think they're, they have their place.
So now that Watto's got his ski, have you got any advice, sort of, especially around boat ramps when you're backing in or anything like that? Or what's your thoughts about that?
Oh yeah, make sure the bungs are in. Rule number 1. All right, that's the go-to. Usually the bungs. Get halfway out, you get the sinking feeling.
Because you had an issue around a boat ramp a while ago, didn't you?
Oh yeah. I had to get rid of a car, so there's more than one way to skin a cat. Oh yeah. The old handbrake failed that day. Don't know how that happened, but that's all right. I was covered by insurance, so that was all good.
Which was that one of the Tweed boat ramps, Matt?
It was.
I'll tell you what, mate. I think there's a long list of bodyboarding related people that may or may not have had handbrake failure at some of the Tweed boat ramps.
Notorious. Yeah. That's probably my forget the bungs, make sure your handbrake's on. And make sure you're insured. Yeah.
And what, mate, just one more thing, the art of the step up, like you said, it's, from standing on the beach looking at it, it does look pretty simple, but it's not at all. Like, you've got to kind of get the right speed. You got to come in at the right line, depending on how that wave breaks, and then that exit strategy is pretty important as well.
Yeah, there's definitely a technique to it. I mean, once you get it down, it's pretty smooth flowing. I think the biggest thing with ski is just confidence. Just make sure you're confident and don't flinch. And then the best person I used to do it with was Mitch. We would literally, if Mitch was on the back, I'd step him off. Let's say we're at Stratty, step him off. At Stratty, you could step off really early, especially on a bodyboard, and you could. So I'd step him off you'd look at this peak way down the beach, and you just hammer to it. He'd step off. I'd follow him down. I'd just race out in front. He'd get spat out, and then I'd drive up in front of him in one motion. He'd slide up onto the back of the sled, and then we'd just go again. We'd straight back out to the point where you're exhausted because you're just getting wave after wave after wave. It was so good. And then and that's the other thing too is, I guess, having that relationship with another ski driver, knowing that their capabilities and
it's really partnerships, isn't it?
It is.
It's so important.
Yeah, that's actually a big thing for me. If I was to get another ski, I would go halves with someone because then it's not the financial side of it. It's then you've got someone to go with all the time.
Well, you don't need to drop a dime, mate. Just spend more time with Jennings. Simple.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
well, I've got another one that's not even here. I've got the one in the garage, and then there's another one at another house. So
I didn't know whether we were going to talk about that one, mate.
No, that's not the one at your shed, the one at the shed up here.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I just wasn't sure if we were talking about
How
that
many
one
skis can you tow behind, Jeno? Come on, mate.
I've only got one car.
You're getting greedy.
Yeah, but do you find that, Jennings? That it is a hard thing?
I find it super hard. To the only person I've tried to even use mine for surfing was I've used it at Bommy, and then I've used it at Stratty with Ash, and it was shit. Yeah, and I ended up coming home. Like, the most use I've got out of it is just cruising around with my lady. Like, it's,
As a photographer, I think it's like when I was shooting photos a bit, that's when I used it a lot. But when you want to go surfing, it almost was like a hindrance, because if you don't have that someone to go with, you end up anchoring it, and then you get home, you got to flush it, you got to clean it, you got to do all that stuff. So,
because you've got all those images behind the island, weren't you? Those
yeah. I was
those real dark sort of water shots.
Yeah. I'd just I'd just go sit off the bombies, and that was an amazing time in my life for sure. That was I love that. That's one thing I miss it for.
Yeah.
So back onto the topic, I guess more of a unique part of what you do, Lackey, is drop knee, as everyone knows. DK World Tour. What's your thoughts on the IBC DK World Tour? Do you follow it? Do you watch any of it? What's your thoughts on it? I mean, there's not a lot of events that have been locked in and scheduled. Do you think it's functional to have DK Tour in line with prone in modern society, especially with the state of the IBC?
Yeah, we haven't spoken to you since Dave Hubb won his 10th.
His 10th, yeah.
DK World Tour champion. So
yeah, that'd be. See, to be honest, I'm out of the loop with it.
Yep.
Obviously, Dave Hubbard, he really does impress me. His surfing, with the competitive side of stuff, he sticks out to me. I don't follow it much, but when I see Dave, I'm like, he's doing some good surfing.
Yeah.
Me personally, I've never been much of a fan of competitive drop knee, because I think you're forced into it's just like a forced style of surfing, and that's just not my personal thing. But with it's a funny one. Like Dave's got like 10 world titles. How many guys are doing it though?
So when you say forced, like what do you mean by that? Obviously, the events are being held at sort of places where prone. They're picking the places for prone.
Yep.
The comp locations. When you describe it as being forced, do you not think those locations are the right places to have, or are you more talking about the conditions?
I'm more talking about the conditions more so. So that's what I mean. I'm so out of the loop. It's hard for me to really kind of comment, because I don't know the locations. I know that they went to. I saw a pretty sick place they went to. Had that bridge. It was like India. It wasn't.
No, Maldives.
No, that was Maldives.
Yeah, that place looked amazing. So, but even from what you just said, then that they're picking these prone places, and then the drop knees competing there.
Yeah,
that's got to be a good thing, right? Because the waves are going to be good. I think they're in Chile at the moment or something. I saw.
They are.
Yeah, so just wrapped up at ATTICA. I think next on stop is Arica.
Oh, yep. Yeah, ATTICA. I went there. That was the first experiment. We went to ATTICA in Chile.
Yep.
So to have drop knees there, that would have been interesting, because it's generally heavy type of wave in ATTICA. My thoughts on a it's hard for me to comment, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm so out of the loop with it, and I can't.
And you weren't really a competitive bodyboarder.
Yeah, and I can't. And some people, everyone's different. So Dave that's his for sure. That's his world. He just loves competing, and he's just dominating. And but it's not my thing.
Yep.
So I can't really say too much, to be honest.
Just say there was one event that they decided.
Cloud9. I don't know why I don't like competing. I don't know why. Maybe is it because I don't like to lose? I don't know. What is it?
Well, you're going to compete in the pools, so what's bringing?
Yeah, but I'll probably lose first heat and get bitter.
But what's bringing you to that? Well, but in saying that is a completely different event. It's not a heat. You get to surf an hour on the left and an hour on the right,
and it's guaranteed. It's guaranteed pumping fun waves with a good bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
So, the question is, what would bring me to a world tour event?
Yeah.
A single. It would be. I guess it would be location. And then go from there.
Yeah.
But I definitely couldn't see myself doing a world tour style setup. But somewhere like.
Would that interest you though? Do you think that would interest you?
It would if it was a Cloud 9 or something.
Yep.
You know, somewhere where it was.
How about
just,
if it was pipe or something like that?
Maybe. There's a lot of variables with pipe. There's so many. Yeah, maybe.
Yep.
I've had some fun times out there.
Yeah, because you used to go
contests
over
and that.
there and compete at that event. So
Yeah, yep.
I think what would make it a little bit more encouraging, and I don't know if this would be, is having everyone there. Like if you've got, you know, that core, like say 10 years ago when it was like Rose, it was all of those sorts of guys and you're in that one location, then you would have the same sort of camaraderie of what the Prone World Tour is. But at the moment, it's just a few Bobs and a few dogs over there.
Yeah,
And then
but maybe they do. So that's why I'm out of touch. Maybe these drop knee guys, you know, I know there's Dave, and then I know there's that Sammy Montero, Rio.
Sammy,
Yeah,
the
Hawaiian,
Caesar back in the day.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe there is a core bunch of dudes doing it, and they're quite competitive in themselves. But I know what you mean.
Well, I mean,
like
if it was your core, like
me,
if it was,
Mason,
Mason, like everyone that, you know, if you put everyone that was in your video in a comp scene with like a bunch of the comp guys that are there now as well, so it is basically like 24 of like you know,
and
the
to be honest, probably Hawaii would have to be that place because that's probably the place where you're going to get them all together.
Yep.
Like that thing we did that time at Off the Wall. It was what was that? It was.
Wasn't it like a jam
DK
in between
Wars.
the comp or something?
Yeah, so it was DK. So they were having the pipe comp, and I think Dropney was in that. And then Chris Wan at the time had come up with this thing called DK Wars, and it was so sick. What it was all, and there's so many Dropneys in Hawaii. We all got together, and it was a pump and day at Off the Wall, and everyone just went and surfed. And at the end of the day, everyone who was just sitting around watching judged who was the best.
All right.
And then they got money, and I fucking won it.
Hey!
but in saying that,
But you're not good at the comps.
Well, yeah, exactly. So that's my style of comp.
It's more a free surf.
It was just a free surf for like we surfed for hours, and we all had fun and we were all sharing waves. And there was one guy I actually split the money with him, rare as hen's teeth. Blood from a stone,
unusual.
never happen again. I forget what his name was, but I'm pretty sure he was surfing really well too. And I kind of so I just split the cash with him.
Yeah,
but that was a pretty cool idea from Chris Wan. DK Wars.
Bring it back.
Yeah.
Another big thing, I guess, in terms of documenting, you know, a bodyboarder's life that's, you know, in the works at the moment. Ryan Hardy, obviously the style master of our sport. He's got a book, Live It Up. Obviously tells his story. There's a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of accomplishments. And, you know, probably a lot of what he saw as failures and how he overcome them. I mean, I think that, again, is going to something that's going to pair really well with the doco that Nick's working on at the moment, which is going to be pretty amazing. Lackey, if you had a book, what would it be called?
The Little Black Book.
Yeah. My book, jeez. Yeah, there'd be some. I don't know what mine would be called. But this is the first I've heard about Ryan's book, and that's something I'd be definitely. I'd love to read and check into for sure.
Yeah, well, it's not something common in our sport. You know, if you're a cricketer or a footballer, there's 1,000 books to go and read. So it'd be amazing to have something from our sport that you can read about a rider's life.
Yeah,
but even if you look back, like he had probably two of the most successful bio movies, like The Hardy Life 1 and 2. Like they were incredible. So like everyone knows, but that was obviously a big thing of success. So hopefully in the book he's going to touch on, you know, those struggles that he did have as well.
Yeah, I mean the thing with Ryan too is a thing that really impressed me is when you saw Ryan for who Ryan really is. He's the most down to earth guy. He's just such a genuine, good guy. I've done so many trips with him, and I used to look at him and he was such a professional. So I've always looked up to Ryan massively. I I looked at his drive, his like professional drive. Like for years, I'd just go surf. I'd just go surfing. It was just like whatever. And then I'd be on trips with him and Mitch. But Ryan, every single wave, he just had something in his eye. It was like every wave he caught, he's trying to go 110%. And I'd be sitting there going, fuck, I'm running at like fucking 50% here. I'd be lift my game. But he was just so passionate and driven. But he was such a down-to-earth, genuine, easy-going dude. Just traveling with, goes with the flow. Such a good guy. And then and like you said, like Hardy's videos, he's just the best. Hardy was just all style, all flow. He was just so above fucking anyone else. And then for it to come out that he was, take what I say with a grain of salt, but he suffered from the bipolar.
Yep.
And I'm no doubt the book goes through all those challenges and battles, and it would be pretty interesting. For me, when looking at Ryan, I just couldn't even imagine it.
Yeah.
Do you think, and this is just openly talking about it, do you think some of those struggles could have started from the pressure of what because obviously he's arguably one of the best bodybuilders that we've ever had, but he obviously never won a world title. Do you reckon that was the kind of pressure that he put himself on? Like when you strive for so much, like you trying every day, like you're putting every emphasis into that goal, that you can burn out?
I think what he had was his brother also suffers, and it's a family related passed on thing with that. But you're right. He lived and breathed it, and maybe, I don't know if getting burnt out is the right, because I don't think Ryan ever got burnt out. Maybe he just, that part of it, he had to take a step back and all that kind of stuff. But I reckon his passion for bodyboarding would just, like I saw a clip of him today in Bali, and he's just ripping. It's just like, man. But
well, you've talked about Mitch before as well, and Ryan, and there's sort of been, benchmarks for the sport in terms of style and all that sort of stuff. Probably Mitch you probably surf more with him in particular. Do you get to see them working on those techniques and that style and flow, because you've surfed with them for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Could you actively see that in their surfing and them working on it, or is that just something that comes with so much surfing that they're doing?
No, they're so focused on what they're doing, and like especially Rawlins. Like Ryan's the same, but Rawlins is funny. I've always could never put my finger on it, but then I watched an interview with Elon Musk, right? And Elon Musk is this fucking genius, and I reckon Rawlins is the same, right? Rawlins has got this fucking weird thing about him, but he's just a fucking genius. He's always thinking, and he's just inside. He would be just such a perfectionist, and that would have came out in his bodyboarding, and I seen it, and it definitely wasn't. Well, it came naturally to him, but it's not like to the point where he doesn't. Oh, I'll just go surfing and do what I do. No, he was fucking wanted to be the best at what he could do. They both did, But the most impressive thing to me, especially with those two, were how down to earth and just good dudes they are. There's a lot. Yeah, that's what I really like. When you get to see the other side, because you don't get to see the other side of people. Maybe your heroes. What do they say? Never meet your hero.
Yeah,
you'll be fucking disappointed. Well, for a lot of people would like to know that, in my opinion, Ryan and Mitch, they're such down to earth guys, and that's I think that's great.
Jennings, you Matt, you were talking about again, I guess that release from when you achieve something. Jennings and I were in Mandurah. I think it might have been 2018 or 17, can't remember. And Ryan was in the ABA event there, and Ryan won. And not trying to take anything away from him, but Ryan spent many years on the world tour. But, what we were doing was a crack in the sidework compared to that. But when he won, the elation and the energy that he released, I mean, I think deep down he knew that he'd won, before he walked up the beach. But, when we announced it, it was the almighty roar that he let out. And, you could see the blood just flowing through his veins as he was fist pumping the sky. Again, like you said, a perfectionist puts so much energy and emotion into everything that he did with the bodyboarding.
Yeah, there's actually another moment that sticks out exactly like that, and it's when he won that event in Mexico, and they're carrying up the beach, and he's like losing it. He's like so amped and so stoked that he's won, but it goes to the point of like he's going crazy.
Yeah.
But it's
Tahiti as well.
Yeah.
That event, when you watch that film as well.
Yeah.
The elation that comes out. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's why this book will be really interesting, because I'm guessing it's going to go through and it's interesting to know that people can relate to these guys. You know what I mean? Like these guys are real. They have their struggles. They have their shit going on in their life, Yeah. And so I find all that kind of stuff really interesting,
Well, stay tuned for that, folks. Anyway, I reckon it's almost time to wrap up this. I mean, we could probably talk absolute garbage with you for the next week. Lackey and still not have really, taken the layer off the surface. But, mate, before we wrap it up, we're just going to hit you with a few final questions, as we always do. Shano, I'll let you get stuck into him.
Yeah, the first one's actually was given to us by a little young fella, Chris Watson, who's really interested in knowing when you're going to do the In Rust We Trust YouTube channel, because he loves that stuff. He'll watch car stuff all day, every day, mate, and he loves YouTube. He's like, just tell Lackey's got to do it.
Yeah, the YouTube. I've had a few people say do the old YouTube thing. I think it's a bit above my pay grade, as in just time-wise and all that stuff, but that's the Rust with Trust is it's always been an outlet for me just to really be myself. Just, not give a fuck and just say whatever the hell I want. And I feel it's I feel like I'm relatable because I'm working on old Land Cruisers, for starters, for people who don't know. I'm cutting the rust out and doing a whole bunch of shit that I know nothing about, but I have a go, and that's what it's about. It's about having a go.
How's the eye these days after that medal?
Oh, that's happened a couple of times. Yeah, a couple of trips to the hospital. But it's I love it, and I get to be myself, and people love it. So it's pretty funny,
mate. Is it all? Will it always be Land Cruisers? I mean, they're obviously a big love of your life, but are there any other kind of cars or perhaps different types of vehicles that you think you'd love to have a crack at?
Oh, I'd always love to, mate. If it was up to me, I'd live on a farm with a big shed and you'd never see me. But that ain't reality. And so I've pretty much hung up the tools at the moment. Yeah. No, I've pretty much hung up the tools at the moment, and I just want to get back to surfing and cruising. But I'll always be tinkering on the ones that I've got. So there'll be always something to tune into.
You say that, but all your social media lately has been all mountain biking.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, I get into it's. Yeah, I've got one of those addictive. I've only found this out in the later years. When I get into something, I'm just fucking all in. So I like to try to keep fit, and I don't really enjoy running. So I thought, well, what's something I can have fun with? And it was mountain biking. And I've been getting stuck into that. I've been loving it.
So are we talking conventional mountain biking here, mate? Or have you gone to the e-biking?
No, my mates are trying to get me into the e-bike, but the whole purpose is fitness. So at this stage, I'm still on the normal, the normal fucking
MTBs.
Bike Yep.
It won't be long, and it'll be a middle-aged man in lycra. You'll see him on the streets at 5 o'clock in the morning.
No, I don't think I'll go down that route. I'm not that desperate, but I got a lot of mates who do that. But but no, mountain biking for me is where it's at. I just do it for fitness, and
in lycra. I just got a image burning.
Yeah.
Tell you what, we could probably do up a really good tile card for this potty of Lackey and lycra.
Oh, Jesus.
Before you get into that, mate, where do you go? Where's you go to? I mean, the Gold Coast is more related to, you know, a beach lifestyle. Where are you heading down to go mountain biking?
Well, actually, one of the big reasons I actually got a mountain bike is I saw pictures of Ukai mountain bike park. Have you ever seen that? The joint is it's just amazing. Northern New South Wales, fucking volcanic red dirt, and it's council have done up this huge mountain biking park, and I just saw the pit. That's what really pulled the trigger. I saw the picture and I was like, man, that looks amazing. And that's another part about mountain biking. You get to go out there solo and just do your own thing. And but yeah, that's where I go, down to Ukai or Currumbin Border Trail, which is it's right there, so that's handy.
Any injuries yet? Because my brother and his mates, man, they've hit roos.
Yeah.
You know, going down those little paths, you know, one of his mates, a roo jumped out in front of him and he hit a roo.
Oh, yeah.
Another one, you know, went off a boon and, you know, broke his arm.
Yeah.
You know, any sort of...
I had a couple of what I thought were pretty good stacks, and then I had a proper one. Luckily I'd gone out and got a full face helmet because I was like, I want to keep my teeth and
keep those good looks, mate.
Yeah, exactly. The modelling career's got to continue, and so here I come full of confidence, hurtling down this fucking down through these jumps and berms. And this one day I had a bit too much confidence. Like you said, straight off the edge of the berm.
Yeah.
It was happening in slow motion. And then all I remember is just headbutting the ground so hard. And, no one around but just me and the mosquitoes. Like, just feeling sorry for myself.
Just sucking air in, trying to get the air back into your lungs.
No, but it was going out. Yeah. You know when you wind it? It's like the air goes out, it doesn't come back in. And that was a big piece of reality for me. And then I said to myself, right, I need to take a step back here, and I just got to remember I'm doing it for fun. Don't be a hero. You know, you don't need to clear that jump. And but honestly, it's funny. It does give you the same feeling of surfing in a weird way. Yeah. So, which is cool.
Awesome. So I've got one last question, and this one again is submitted by a little young bloke, Benny Oborn.
Oh yeah.
Who just keeps texting me fucking constantly saying, when the fuck's Lackey going to do a new trip?
Well, as long as it's got a mountain bike park in it, we'll be right.
Wow.
No. I don't know. Let's see what. Let's see how the cookie crumbles.
We'll make something happen. We'll get you to Melbourne.
Yeah. Well, Vico will be a good one. To the wave pool, and I want to go riding with your brother too.
Yep.
So that'll.
We also have real waves down here too, mate. It's not just
I know. I've actually
artificial one.
He's scared of that, mate.
Yeah. No.
I told you about the story when I met Lackey, the first time I ever met Lackey.
This
is in Narrabeen.
Oh, yeah, it was too cold.
We came to Narrabeen, and he wasn't riding for us then. It was a BSC Expo thing, yeah. So Lackey comes in the car with us, and we go down to DY, and everyone paddles out, and Lackey's just sitting on the beach, and I'm thinking, what the fuck's this guy doing? Like, why isn't he coming out? So we surf for about an hour, come back in.
Too cold.
Lackey's rocking back and forth, and I go,
cradling myself.
What the fuck's wrong with you, mate? What? He goes, oh, mate, the water's too cold down here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, you're sponsored by Billabong, mate.
Yeah, couldn't pay me enough. It's cold water's never been my thing. But
welcome to Vico in August, mate.
And mate, it's not salt water, so it goes down a few more degrees as well.
Yeah,
I actually said to him, I've got a 4.3 with your name on it. And he goes, I don't know if I can wear a 4.3. It's too much rubber. I went, well, good luck with the 3 too.
Yeah.
Definitely, by all means, mate. Long arm springy for you at that event. Couldn't see anything going on.
Yeah, well, long arm spring is what I prefer to wear, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
All right. On behalf of all of us, mate, thank you so much for your time. It's always good to have you back in the same room with a headset on. I know our fans and listeners love hearing your stories, mate. I'm sure we're going to continue for Chapter 3 in no time at all. So cheers on behalf of everyone at the Closeout. Thanks for listening. Once again,
big thanks to MJ coming in as well. We appreciate it, mate.
Yep.
Royalty.
Royalty.
Yeah.
He's here for the big interviews. That's all he does now, just big interviews.
Yeah, from my side, thanks for having me again. And in your podcast, are definitely reaching people. I have people out in the surf coming up and saying they enjoyed listening to the podcast and all that. So
Awesome.
that's pretty cool to hear.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
And yeah, just as always, in closing, big shout out to everyone behind the scenes that makes this thing go live. Obviously, Social Shane, Sammy Watson, Michael Jennings, Rob Porteous. Who have I missed, guys? Anyone?
Oh, what I'll be back from the Titanic next time, hopefully.
All right, guys. Once again, thanks again, and we'll see you next time.